Hello and welcome to the second episode of this year's Tompkins Talk. I'm your host, Archie Nickel, and I'm here with my co-host, Ethan Roberts. And here today's episode, we're interviewing
Kyle Humphreys, head baseball coach.
All right. So, what is your major goals for this season?
I think our goals every year, I think our kids have the expectation to, win. And I think our goal every year is to get to be in the state finals, maybe one of the last four teams standing. We haven't been able to do that yet, but in the last four seasons, or five, I guess you would say, we've been district champs 4 of the last 5, and been to playoffs in last maybe 3 or 4 rounds into the playoffs the last 4 to 5 seasons. So kind of our expectation is to get to that point again, maybe even a little bit farther, and I think our kids have that expectation.
Okay. Is there anything new that you're going to try this season? Something like in practice, training, or games?
I think, as coaches, we want to put the kids in the best situations, so that when they get into the games, they feel like they've been there before. And so, as coaches, that's kind of always our expectation, is to rise in a game where they haven't been in that before. So that's kind of our goal as coaches. And we want to put pressure on the kids at practice so that they can perform well in games.
So you're going to be running through a bunch of different plays?
Right? Yeah, so practice, there's all kind of stuff involved with baseball. We do a lot of individual defense, position work, infield, outfield, catchers, pitchers. Just like any other sport, you got to practice at your position. Team defense. There's so many different things that happen in a baseball game that the average probably person outside of baseball doesn't realize. Yeah. But there's a lot of different things that go on with baseball: first and third situations, bunt coverages, pickoff plays. All those different type of things we got to practice before we get into games. So.
Yeah. Exactly. You're gonna prep for every scenario.
Correct.
Now, you mentioned that there's a bunch of stuff that someone who doesn't play baseball might not know. Could you go run through the positions for some people?
You got 9 positions, right? You got your pitcher and catcher. You got third base, shortstop, second base, first base, and then you got 3 outfielders: left, center, and right.
All right. So a team consists of 9 players or more than 9?
You got 9 playing defense,
okay.
And then you've got 1 possible designated hitter that can hit for anybody on the field if you need that.
Okay. So the hitter has to make sure he knows how to take care of all of the other 9 positions.
Well, you got 9 defensive players. All 9 will hit.
Okay.
Right? And then sometimes maybe you got a pitcher that, maybe he needs to concentrate on pitching and he's not the greatest of the 9 hitters sometimes, or maybe it's some other position. And you've got a 10th guy on the bench that may need to be in the lineup. So in high school, you get a designated hitter, right? And, now they have that in major leagues in both American and the National League.
So how did you become interested in teaching or coaching baseball?
Well, I grew up in a family that my dad was a baseball coach, longtime baseball coach. He coached for about 25 years or so. My brother is also had been a head baseball coach. And so I was always involved with baseball. Growing up, I played high school for my dad. I ended up had the ability to play college baseball, played at Blinn and Louisiana Tech University. And when I got out, I'm not saying that necessarily I, right out of the bat, wanted to be a teacher, but I enjoyed teaching very much, and really, kind of started loving that a little bit as well. And, I've always been involved with baseball in whatever fashion it may be, and I think it's just a good opportunity, and I really love the school. I think it's just a great place to be.
Yeah, everything just worked out for you.
Yes.
Is there any stories you have over your years?
Involved with what?
Oh, with baseball. Sorry.
With
Is there
with baseball? I can't think of one off the top of my head. I'm just so lucky to be where I'm at, and I can. Every baseball coach remembers every single kid that they've coached, and I just enjoy being here at this school, and all the memories that are made from those kids and our playoff seasons, whether we made it or not. Us as coaches will always remember those kids and what they've put forth to our program and how much better they've made it for the next group. So,
is there any favorite memories you have of over the years? How long have you been coaching?
I've been here since the school started.
So around 10?
So this is 10 or 11 years, and I think our baseball program anyway has gotten better each and every year, and so I'm just proud of what those kids have accomplished, not just us as coaches, but how much the kids work hard and put it in for the next group that comes behind them, and they're all willing to work together at practice, and even make those freshmen the best they can be to one day those kids are going to be at the varsity level for us too, and we want them to be successful. So.
How has the team done over? How has the practice been going? Is there any?
It's been going great, other than, the weather is not really cooperated. And so, we have to work out inside sometimes, work out in the gym, hallway, turf whenever we can. And the school does a really good job of all sports kind of cooperating with each other and making sure that everybody kind of has a place to go and work out. And, that's one thing I'll say about this school is the coaches are really cooperative and willing to help each other out.
Yeah, that's good to hear. So you expecting a good season this year? Good
I am. I always expect a good season. I think our kids expect that too. Really great group of kids this year. I know this is going to be a fun group to coach. I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know how good we'll be, but I think, every year we have that expectation of doing better than we did the last year. And I don't see any reason why we can't do that again this year. And the kids have been working really hard, and, we've got some good talent this year. So
It's good to hear.
You mentioned that you were a baseball player. Is there anything that you learned while being a coach for high school that you didn't necessarily know or realize as a player?
Well, definitely. I will say that one thing that I took from being a player was that, and this doesn't happen to many folks, but I was a college baseball player, and I ended up playing 5 years. Most played 4. I played 5 years of baseball. I got hurt one season and had a medical red shirt. But I played for 5 different coaches. So every year I had a new coach, which is not the usual. And I think for me as a player, that helped me make sure that I was learning to compete and how to win a job every year. And, and also I learned, as far as the coaches that were coaching me, everybody's different, right? And so you learn different strategies and different things that coaches do well.
You get a lot of perspective.
Right, and maybe you learn some things that you as a coach now may not do that some of those coaches did. So every coach is different. You can't try to be like somebody else. You kind of have your own persona that fits you. Don't try to be somebody else. But I think along the way there, especially playing for 5 different coaches, you realize what is very successful, maybe what's not so great, and you just kind of pick and choose. I think every great coach, is kind of pulled from other things that they see, other coaches that they see, and try to find ways that are going to benefit them and their program. And I think I know for a fact that I played for 5 very good coaches, but they were all different, and I kind of pick and choose some of the things that they did to be successful.
If you could pick one of the best pieces of advice that one of your coaches gave, what would that be?
Man, the best advice. I don't know. They were all so different, but I will say that I was not the greatest player. And so sometimes you're not playing, and you have coaches that are, they affect you in different ways. Maybe in baseball, especially, you're not always successful. So you have to learn to deal with failure in baseball a lot, and that's part of being a baseball player. You're not going to always go 4 for 4. You're not going to always strike out the side, and so learning to deal with failure in baseball is a big thing. And so you've got to, it's a grind, throughout the entire season. How's that going to affect you the next game or the next pitch or the next at bat? And you can't let that strikeout that happened before you affect your next at bat or take it out to the field. So I think not being the greatest player and learning to deal with maybe sitting the bench or getting those spare opportunities and what are you going to do with those, and just not letting that affect you has helped me as a coach understanding players, and how they feel. And I think that I kind of understand that and try to communicate with the players as much as possible.
There's a big mental part and not just a physical.
Definitely.
Yeah,
There's
you
the
have
mental part of baseball.
You have a lot of perspective.
Mhm.
I can tell that you've seen every angle of baseball, which helps.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen everything, but I will
learn
say
every
that
year.
it's definitely a big part of it, the mental game.
Mhm.
So, and that's something you got to teach too. You got to teach
Yeah.
kids how to deal with failure.
That's important.
Is there anything what's your biggest achievement? What's your biggest failure, if you don't mind me asking, while playing baseball?
Oh man, I've been on some really good teams in college. Been on some really bad teams, and so that's another reason why I feel like as a coach you kind of pick and choose some things that you like. I don't know what my biggest accomplishment is. I think playing for my dad was really awesome for me, and just seeing our family and stuff dealing with baseball and my brother being a coach. I know for me it was a really cool experience 2 years ago when I was able to play my brother in the playoffs. Us as 2 head coaches, getting to see my parents at the game, trying to get to honor my dad during the game and everything. That was pretty cool for me. But it's not about me. It's about the players and their playoff experience, and we want to do the best we can. But I know that for me, that was a great moment.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on the show. It was awesome talking to you.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any ending points anyone wants to say?
I think we're good.
Thank you.
All right, thanks,
Well,
guys.